Hey, welcome back, everybody. I'm Dr. Greg Eckel, and this is What the Health. Our title of the talk today is What's Hydrogen Got to Do with It? Like, what's love got to do with it?
I love it.
The role of hydrogen water in gut, brain, sleep, energy, fatigue, and immune function. I got Dr. Paul here. He's a naturopathic doc and hydrogen water expert. We've had him on the show before. We wanted to come back and revisit and re-energize around this whole concept. So, Dr. Paul, what does hydrogen got to do with it?
It's got everything to do with it. Well, hydrogen really primarily reduces oxidative stress, chronic inflammation. It can change brain function, neurologic function, mitochondrial function, fatigue, sleep. I mean, there's so many things that it affects. It really is amazing.
You've shared a ton of research with us, my providers, and our audience here at What the Health before. But how did you get interested or even become aware of hydrogen gas?
Oh gosh, almost 20 years ago now. But 2005 is when I became aware. And it took me about a year and a half to figure out that hydrogen was responsible for the benefits, but it really was having to do with my wife. We've been married 30 years this month. It'll be our 30-year
Well,
anniversary. And
congratulations.
thank you. And she was sick the first 10 years of our marriage. So I was looking for anything possible that could help her. And so water with hydrogen in it was what helped her. I
Hmm.
didn't know immediately that it was hydrogen gas in the water, but about a year and a half into it, I did figure that out. And then by 2009, I was lecturing on hydrogen gas, and everyone thought I was crazy. But yeah.
2009, right? So you've seen a lot more research come out on that, and it seems like it is kind of a buzz. Hydrogen being part of the H2O molecule, water.
Yeah.
What tipped you off? Like, how did you know to use this with your wife?
So I had some friends who had an organic food store, and 9/11 had just happened a little bit before that. And they were trying to stay afloat. Quite honestly, they had lost half their revenue because people weren't coming to Disney World, and that's where half their revenue came from, is people buying organic food for their condos when they were visiting
Okay.
Disney. So they were looking for ways, and they found this at the time alkaline water machine, and they were telling me, "Oh my gosh, it's changing everyone's lives! Like we're selling 200 gallons a day of water out of these machines," and I'm like, "Well, I don't agree that it's the pH of the water. However, I don't know what it is. Well, I don't know what the mechanism of healing is, but it's doing something because it helped my wife." And so I kind of got involved in the industry promoting the alkaline machines. This was way back, like I said, almost 20 years ago now, but we were selling thousands of machines a month in the 40 countries in the world. And I kept seeing the bubbles in the water. And I thought, it's got to be hydrogen. It's got to be hydrogen. Well, if we were smart, which many times we're not as human beings, we kind of forget stuff. In the year 1800, Dr. Carlisle discovered water electrolysis, and it was because he was wanting to harvest hydrogen gas. So this is where I'm like, this has got to be the mechanism. And so then I found a study that showed it was hydrogen gas, and that once I turned my attention to studying hydrogen, I found all kinds of stuff from World War II and gunshot wounds to back to 1950 when Japan did human trials for 15-year human trials. And so I just didn't know what I was looking for at first. And once I figured out and focused my attention on hydrogen, it was like, whoa, there is some information.
Yeah, that is, more and more. So, what are the things, is it safe for everybody? Hydrogen?
Yeah, completely safe. Of the 1,350 studies we have so far, there's no contraindications, there's no demographic, there's no age group, there's no any group that shouldn't have it. And that should be common sense or make sense to us because our bodies are designed to produce hydrogen gas naturally. So if it was harmful to anybody, that would be a problem.
Mm. Yeah, that's for sure. A lot of hydrogen out there.
Yeah.
What so, well, like what have you seen? Like in what cases have you been just like a head scratcher like, wow, I didn't realize it was going to work for that?
Well, I'll share some funny things. How about that? Because I've been doing this a long time. I was the first one to start really educating with hydrogen, and I would do stuff like we would go to events and give people the water. And this one time, a guy came over and he's like, "My wife hasn't been like that since our honeymoon. Like, what is in the water that my wife was, wanting marital relations like she hasn't in many years?" And I'm like, don't know. Maybe she's chronically dehydrated and now she's got energy. I don't know. But later, I did actually find a mouse study that showed that it increased sexual drive. So
Huh.
that's a cool one. And then innate immune function in lion, like what's it called, lionfish. So I mean, it's there's interesting stuff that you can find. But again, the most interesting thing I've ever seen with my own eyes is people with tremors,
Hmm.
and within 10 minutes of drinking the water, their hand can be still. And they're like telling me, "I feel tingling in my brain. What's going on?" And so that's an awesome, beautiful thing to observe.
That is, one of the main reasons why we have this in our lobby here at Energy for Life Centers. And we're going to put the link below if you're curious and or wanting to try, which I would encourage folks to give it a go. It is something that I've been drinking now for 18 months on a day, every working day basis. And I'm noticing, it is helping on structure water in my body and energy fields.
Mhm.
Having, one, adequate hydration has been one of the top recommendations that I've made for over 24 years of seeing patients, of having adequate hydration. And then you put a hydrogen level in there. Now, what's the difference between your devices and just hydrogen tablets?
So the tablets are the most expensive way to make hydrogen water. It's extremely expensive and it's unnecessary. There is no benefit to getting it through tablet. It's far better to get it in a bottle that you pay for one time and you use for years to come, rather than having to pay $50 to $100 a month for tablets. So that's one thing. The other thing is a lot of people do not like the taste of the water when you make it with tablets because there's a pretty strong magnesium taste and not everybody likes that. Also, there are some individuals that have bowel issues after using the tablets to create the water. So there's a number of reasons why people don't like it. And
How
from a,
long does the hydrogen stay in suspension in these two different ways of delivery?
it would be the same. I
It
mean,
is.
uh, having a gas stay in water is gonna last up to 2 hours in a, if you had just a glass that's open to the atmosphere, you're
Hmm.
gonna lose the gas in a couple hours. If you have it in a bottle with a lid and you've filled up all the way, then you lose typically 0.1 parts per million per day. It's not exact science, but that's
Okay.
a round estimate. Yeah.
Okay. So it can, like you're talking about the Echo Go, that vehicle or any bottle, you could get it from
Yeah.
your stationary, like the one that we have in the lobby
Right.
is the unit that you put on top of the counter and has the
Yeah, you would
filter.
just pour it in a bottle of some kind that has a lid,
Yeah.
fill it up all the way with no airspace, and then close the lid,
Yeah.
and that'll last for days.
Got it. And what does some of the science show? Like, how is this working for us?
Again, most disease, the leading cause of disease is the combination of oxidative stress and chronic inflammation.
Hmm.
So, hydrogen reduces oxidative stress and chronic inflammation, which is the leading cause of disease. So, that's really where you see modification in disease models. Doesn't matter, every disease, if the cause of disease is oxidative stress and chronic inflammation, and hydrogen reduces those things, then you're going to have less occurrence of disease models. we don't go after any one disease because there's hundreds of diseases that are showing to have benefits. But one of the big ones that's in our country is diabetes, and it's pretty quick. Within, 1 to 3 days, 5 days max, people see differences in their blood glucose levels. There are 62 studies on diabetes. You have studies on Parkinson's, around 22 on Parkinson's, for example, and this shows great benefits with Parkinson's. There are many disease models. There's 117 on cancer. There, I mean, just on and on it goes. So
Yeah.
again, it's not disease specific, it's the cause of disease. Hydrogen reduces the cause of disease, and so that's a great thing.
Have you?
It also helps digestion and gut issues. That's a big one, that people that have Crohn's and people that have IBS and people that have all kinds of gut related issues, you can be helped hugely because hydrogen can stabilize or normalize the gut so that you can eat whatever food you want to without having all these food allergies and stuff.
Sure. How about with, have you seen any research on mitochondria and mitochondrial health?
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. And we see increase in energy. We see lower recovery times and lower fatigue with athletes, but then of course just everyone. And then hydroxyl radicals that are one of the most cytotoxic oxygen radicals that are in the mitochondrial respiratory chain. Hydrogen has an effect on reducing those. And so that's a beautiful thing as well. You don't have the disruption of
Got it.
mitochondria producing ATP.
Yeah. So that's, I think on that reactive oxidative species and free radical production in the system, having this, it's almost as it's a potent antioxidant. It's going
Yeah.
through and clearing those free radicals out of the system.
Yeah, and one of the best studies that kind of woke everybody up was in 2008 and 2009. Nature Medicine published a study how hydrogen was a selective antioxidant. And what it meant by selective was that it only reached and reacted with cytotoxic oxygen radicals. It did not react with radicals that had a physiological role. And so it's really beautiful science.
Oh, that's really interesting. I would love that white paper over here and that
Yeah,
research. Yeah.
I'll send
The
it to you.
I love it. I love it. What else do we need to know about hydrogen water?
It's something everyone should be drinking. There are so many pesticides, pharmaceuticals, heavy metals, stress in life. Most everyone has a gut that is not functioning optimally, and I'm being very kind. I think 97% of the population have some dysfunction of gut, pretty serious. And so hydrogen water can help that. If we get hydrogen into the body, it can work to aid the body in repairing the gut so that you can eat the foods, have energy, not have anxiety and depression that comes from having the wrong bacteria. It can restore the electrical potential so that the good bacteria have an environment to grow and a biome. And so that's beautiful science as well. And there are many studies on, the intestinal tract.
Will you share some of those? I was hoping we'd get into some of those,
Yeah,
electrical gradients and voltages of the bowel of the cell, how this adds into that discussion.
sure. Would be happy to. So if we look at the gut, the tissue in the lining of the gut, there's what's called a electrical potential. It's not like you have electrical voltage in your lining of your intestinal tract, but there is what's called a potential energy. And bacteria, they either want a positive or a negative electrical potential. And so for anaerobic microflora, which are considered the healthy bacteria or the appropriate bacteria for our gut that should make up, up to 96% of the bacteria in the gut, 96 to 99%, it should be the majority.
Mhm.
Those anaerobes, those strict anaerobes require a negative 300, negative 400 millivolts of electrical potential negative. And that's what hydrogen helps to restore. And so it literally changes the biome, the terrain rapidly.
Mm. That's really, more and more, as I've stated, the future of medicine is in frequency. And we need these vessels to be massive receptors, and having that electrical gradient in our energy beings charged up. This is one of the best ways that I've seen to help people get their battery recharged through the hydration, through those differentials, the electrical gradients with the exclusionary zone water around our
Yep,
cells, and
yep,
then between the organs and the connective tissue. We need this to be positively charged and or electrically ready to receive.
yep,
If we're going to get the frequencies, which we understand, more from technology, but we have those supercomputers walking around in our pockets that
yeah,
frequency carrying information. It's the same thing here. It's frequency forming matter and informing matter. And this piece is a missing puzzle for a lot of folks. They're taking supplements, they're doing diet, they're doing mindfulness, but their gradient is not proper in the system to have it stick, to have it set up shop. And so again, why I put it in the lobby of our centers is it's one of the fastest routes to help people get there.
right.
So I appreciate you, creating these. I'm wondering if you want to speak a little bit more about the hydrogen water. You have to go vessels for on the road, and then you also have at home or in the
Yep.
office. Are they also water filters? People always ask us that.
Yes. So the bottles are not. The Echo Go and the Echo Go Plus, they are portable battery, rechargeable battery operated units. You have to put pure water or filtered water into those devices.
Okay.
That's designed for when you're on the go. Obviously, we call it Echo Go because you get a hydrogen water on the go. So then we have whole house filtration, very robust. We have reverse osmosis to really get the cleanest drinking water you could get. And then we have 3 machines. So one of them is designed to go with the RO. The other 2 have filtration built into them. And those can be countertop or under sink. And that's called the Echo H2 machine or the Echo Ultimate. The Echo H2 machine is what you have in your facility. It has an excellent filter that removes heavy metals, pesticides, pharmaceuticals, all that the nasty stuff you would want out of your water. And then it puts hydrogen gas dissolved into the water. So it's a perfect unit to have in a home or a clinic. It can go under sink if you get the faucet from us. And otherwise it can go on top of the counter. But those do have filters. The 2 machines have filters. We also have the whole house filter and the reverse osmosis. So we really have a full line of filtration.
I love it. And you can also put frequencies into the water as well.
We paused that program. We
Okay.
used to have that program and we paused it.
Okay.
However, we may bring a version of that back, or we may make it available to machine, not just our machine, but to other companies as well. So
Fair
we're
enough.
toying with that. So
All right. Cool. Well, excellent. So it has some future capabilities that we may expand upon.
yeah.
Is there anything else that you'd like to share with our listeners and viewers before we part ways today?
No, I really think people should investigate, try it, you'll like it, right?
Yes.
But the reality is we're now selling between 20 and 25,000 of those Echo Go Plus bottles a month.
Hmm.
And people are just loving them. They are feeling better. They're enjoying it. Then they come and buy 2 more for family members, and then they get a machine because they're like, we just had a lady from Europe. I just saw a message from her, 20 minutes ago, half an hour ago, where she said, "Hey, we got the Echo Go Plus, and it's amazing. However, we all wake up in the morning and we form a line, and
Trading.
we're waiting the minutes for it to work." And she goes, "We're ready to get a machine. What machine do you recommend? Because we're just ready to fill a glass up and boom, done. We don't
Get it
want to."
going.
So,
Awesome.
anyways, but I would say at least start with the Echo Go or Echo Go Plus. Either one of them is going to give you base water that's going to bless your life and change your function on a daily basis. One of the big things people say is the first night their sleep is different, their
Mm.
dreams are different. They can remember the dreams, they have dreams. And so just try it. you have 30 days to return it. And trust me, we don't get them back, but you have 30 days if you don't like it for any reason, but get an Eckel Go or an Eckel Go Plus at least to start.
Awesome. Well, Dr. Paul, thank you. Always a pleasure to have you on What the Health. Folks, you heard it from Dr. Paul. Go get your Eckel Go. We do have it in our lobbies. We are seeing the benefits for our patients. That's why I've got him on the show. I just wanted to share that with you all. It's something that I drink every day of the work week. And so my staff gets it. Patients that come into the centers are also drinking that water. We're firm believers in it. Thank you for creating an awesome product, Paul. And everybody out there, we will see you next time on What the Health.
Thank you.